My name is Kwabna Chenchahinibwati. Many thanks for joining us here on News Today to have our first story and the 3 ex-South African security officers who were arrested by the Bureau of National Investigations for engaging in acts that threaten the country's security are to be put before an Accra High Court today. The BNI says they were engaging in acts that threaten national security. The New Patriotic Party has disclosed that they hired the services of the detained ex-South African security officers for purposes of training the personal security detail of the flag bearer and his running mate. They dismissed suggestions that the men are a security threat. In a statement yesterday, the opposition NPP stated that the 3 men pose no security threat to Ghana. The party stated that they had hired the services of the men to train the security detail of its presidential and vice presidential candidates in a routine exercise. The party disclosed that the 2 personal drivers of the candidates, as well as the official photographer of Nana Addo Kufuor, were part of the 15 persons undergoing training, which took place on the premises of a well-known licensed Ghanaian security company, Delta Security. We'll go to the court in a while and speak to our man on the ground, Kwachi Afre Nyama, shortly. Once you're able to establish contact with him, we will bring to you the very latest from the courts. To some more stories now and focus on the not so effective NDC government and not the NPP's internal issues. That's the call on the Ghanaian electorate by former President John Agyekum Kufuor. According to the former head of state, voting the NPP back into power is the only way Ghanaians can see real improvements in their lives, seeing how miserably the ruling NDC has performed over the past years. He says talk of internal problems within his party, the NPP, and time spent in addressing the issue will not affect the party's fortunes in the upcoming general elections. He rather believes that should convince the electorate that the party, despite its challenges, is willing and ready to surmount challenges in the country. The former president has been speaking to my colleague Beatrice Edu.
My appeal is for the party to hold together, to put outside of the arguments across to Ghana, in hopes that this year Ghana would favor NPP by returning NPP to power.
So you are appealing and hoping that Ghanaians will return the NPP to power. Why should Ghanaians do so?
Why do we go to the polls? Ask yourself, why do we vote? We vote to elect, say, a president and also a party into government to go and serve the nation, to improve the quality of life for the citizenry of the land. The national constitution provides for multipartyism. So when you try party A for some time and it's not delivering to your expectations, then wisdom will tell you, please change your hand. Give the other side a chance. We've tried our brothers and friends of NDC for quite some time. We are moving into 8 years now. It's high time Ghana looked at NPP.
But is this not beyond what the Constitution demands, that there is multi-party system? Is it not rather about what the other party has to offer? What is the NPP offering?
What the Constitution really is saying is that the people are the judges.
What realistically should Ghanaians be looking out for?
Life is not exactly black and white. There are shades in between the two basic colors. If you talk of, say, the Dumso that crisis being alleviated, another person observing might ask you, what's the cost? How much has it cost us to come out of the woods with this thing?
So you're saying that's what the NPP would have done and would do?
I'm telling you.
Do you think that the NPP is really ready for the November polls, looking at all the time that the party has wasted dealing with internal issues?
Naturally, I would wish that my party was holding together firmly. But I tell you, they say a week might be a long time in politics. And you said the elections are in November. I'm telling you, NPP, I expect, would come back together firmly. But because it's not just the looks, which may not be the true story. It's the quality of the servants, the people.
Now, flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party, Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndom, has charged Ghanaian youth to develop their full potential in order to be able to harness opportunities that will be made available to them by the right leadership. Speaking at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Dr. Ndom charged the youth to take advantage of their talents and develop their entrepreneurial skills in order to remain relevant in society.
All I'm saying to you is that the talents that you have is just as good, just as wonderful, just as brilliant than any other one anywhere else in the world. All that you need is you need a bit of opportunity. And where do we get opportunity? In a country called Ghana. That is where I go just a little bit into politics. And I say to you, you get what you go for. You get what you go for. You cannot go and plant a seed. A seed that is for maize and expect that in a little while you will get rice. It is not possible. It is not possible. You are smart people. You are intelligent people. That is why you are here. It is important for you to understand, just as I have come to understand, that I could be the best businessman in Ghana. I could have the most brilliant ideas. But if someone in government thinks that this man is dangerous, that this person is someone who we should make sure doesn't exist here, where would all my brilliance go? What would become of me? Do you know who you are? And do you know what you can become? I am here to tell you this evening that you have been endowed with a brilliant mind, wonderful God-given talent, the same as any human being on this earth. Anyone, and I am a testimony to that. If me, the man standing here, a boy from Elmina, if I can rise and I can go to school, I can go to St. Augustine's, I can move from there, I can go to the US, I can sit in the same classrooms as everybody else, and I can rise to be a partner in a firm like Deloitte and Touche, and be like any one of those people who are partners of the firm in the US. At the time when there were about 1,000 partners, there were 5 of us who were black. One originally from Jamaica. Two of them from the US. A third one, a woman, also from the US, from the South, and me, from Africa. If I can rise to get to that level, if I can rise to get to that level, based on where I came from, imagine where you can go from where you are.
Let's stay with the youth and education, and you might want to reconsider your course of study at the tertiary level if you are to get access to a student loan in Ghana and indeed the entire sub-region. This is because of ongoing discussions targeted at streamlining access to the fund in the wake of repayment defaults by a number of beneficiaries who are unable to settle their debts early enough because of lack of jobs due to their programs of study at the tertiary level. Now, Chief Executive Officer of the Student Loan Trust Fund Ghana, Sheila Nabuama, in an interview with Joy News, says Though government will have to take a final decision on the issue, her outfit believes streamlining access to the fund is the sure way to go if it is to remain relevant.
How do we balance scarce resources with creating value in terms of the people who can benefit from it? How do we put our money where our needs are? So the discussions at that platform is one that is looking at the continent currently has over 70% of its population below 35. What this tells us is that the youthful energy that we can derive from this population is going to be hinged on education. How do we support the vulnerable but brainy people within the continent to attain this very enviable thing of attaining higher education? Apart from that, are we just looking at giving the money to them to attain education that they don't find jobs in? Or looking for the moving forward, should we start matching the scarce resource to national relevant areas? Those are the discussions that are taking place at the level of the continent. If I bring it down to Ghana, I think that it's taking place in Ghana in a different format. I remember reading quite recently the National Accreditation Board streamlining the kind of institutions that they are going to be giving accreditation to. What this means moving forward is that if you don't get accreditation to start with, you can't benefit from the student loan. So, you know, different countries would look at moving or migrating resources towards that solution in different approaches. But what is important is that the current generation policymakers, stakeholders in education, must start planning for the needs of the future. And those plans would have to be matching scarce resources to courses or expertise that are needed to drive national development. And that discussion or those discussions would have to start now. Those are the issues that the regional body is discussing. Some countries have taken the lead to amend their laws. Other countries are using different approaches.
Do you think there's a need for a country like Ghana to look at such an option?
Well, at the Student Loan Trust Fund, policy directives of this nature would have to come from the sector ministry. Those type of specific discussions would have to be led by that. So I am not going to be able to say, let's change the law now or in the future. But being the kind of statistics that I'm exposed to, having worked with universities and institutions and the growth in tertiary education, I think that it would be the way to go moving forward. If we have to continue to fund meaningfully, if we have to give the people who need us the money they need, if we have to avoid a situation where only the rich people's children are taking courses that are financially demanding, then we need to start now. Education must be made accessible to people based on their brains and not based on their pockets. And together we must make sure that that is going to happen.
So if we are to employ such an approach, which courses do you understand? But what do students here in Ghana make of this intended approach? Some students here in Accra have been expressing their views on the plan by the managers of the fund on this particular issue. We're speaking to a few of them.
People will be forced to do courses that they don't really have their interest in or are not really interested in, because they want to get access to the student's loan. And so this decision should be reviewed or should be looked at again. I think it's discriminatory because then they are deciding which course is better than another, or they are deciding which course they think would give immediate employment. You can't really tell which course would give immediate employment. It's by fate or by luck, or if God helps you, you might get a job. So you might even offer a course they think would give you immediate employment, and you finish school and you don't get employment. So I think that they should change that decision and make the loan flexible so that everybody gets access to it, because some people are really brilliant, but because of this decision, they can't move forward in life.
That decision, in my opinion, it's not right, because you don't know what the person wants. You don't know the person's passion or what he likes. So you can't use that. For example, somebody wants to do agric, and you think that agriculture engineering, after you do it, you will not get a job to pay for the loan, then you will not give it. It's very bad because you don't know where the person might go next from it.
So you can't say these people, they are 100%. You are 100% sure that these people will get employment. Understand? And some of those people which you sometimes neglect are the people that probably might gain the employment. So I don't think the decision which they are kind of being hard on the student. While the reason for the loan is to make things easier for students. So saying that you only give it to people that they think they will easily gain and get employed, it's not good at all.
We are taking a break here on News Today. We return shortly with a lot more stories. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying here on News Today. Now, the latest Afrobarometer survey has revealed up to 35% of Ghanaians have once paid a bribe for water and other essential services. Respondents were asked whether they've tried to get water, sanitation or electricity services from government officials and how often they've had to pay a bribe, give a gift or do a favor to the officials in order to get the services. 35% of the respondents in Ghana said they paid a bribe to get the service. This makes Ghana the 6th worst performing country among the 36 African countries surveyed. My colleague Derek Ekosam has been speaking to a lot more people on their take on the figures being churned out and whether or not they've even paid a bribe before in their bid to get a service.
It's true. Even any office in this country, they do. Even yesterday, I just went to Midday to do my medical report. And when I paid before, I got my report. Because I needed it. Even they have delayed me for 3 days. So I paid it before just. They give it to me. Any office in this country, any office, they do.
Once worked with the judicial service. You get it? So I wasn't surprised when a nurse came out that the system is corrupt there. I was once working there. When I got to realize the system was so much corrupt, I left the system. I left there. I left judicial service. Bribing and corruption. It's all over the place. Right. I have never paid bribe to anybody. Now, look at when the media people refused to attend to me because I didn't have money. Look at it. I needed to pay, the cost of that solid, which you all understand. You understand that? So that's solid. When I went around, shared about 16 letters to FM stations to attend to me so that I create awareness on societal pressure. And they refuse. I said, look, I don't have a password. Then I climbed a building, tie a rope around my neck. Then they came. I didn't pay a password. Me, for instance, somebody telling me you pay bribe. I have not paid bribe to anybody yet. I wouldn't do it. No matter how you frustrate me. Sometimes if you are not even careful, I will disgrace you.
And that one there is true. Because in Ghana, when you not pay the bribe, they can't even do the thing fast for you, so you have to pay some so that they will do it fast for you. So, as for me, I've paid bribe to do something for me before.
What do you pay the bribe for?
Oh, actually, my passport. Yeah, I can remember my passport when I was doing because I was in a hurry. I have to put something down so that they will do it fast for me.
Yeah. So when you paid the bribe, how long did it take you to get your documents?
No, actually, let me say, it took about 1 month.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has charged the government to ensure prompt disbursement of the fertilizer subsidy program to due farmers. Now, according to the programs officer of the association, Charles Nyaba, the delay in disbursement makes it difficult for members to access the facility for cultivation. He spoke to me earlier at the back of the validation of monitoring report on the 2015 fertilizer subsidy program. What's the status of it as we speak?
Yeah, as we speak, last week, the Minister of Food and Agriculture launched the 2016 fertilizer subsidy program. Now, there are a lot of changes that has been made compared to the 2015 one. This time around, we keep calling that we cannot continue to rely on chemical fertilizer, and there was a need for them to include organic fertilizer. So there's an allocation of 18 million Ghana cedis to subsidize organic fertilizer, which we think is good. There has also been increase of the subsidy component from a 21% in 2015 to 26%, which we also think is good. Now, our concern is not only the fact that they announce it, but our concern has to do with sometimes they'll do the announcement, but before the fertilizer will get down to the farmers, it becomes a problem.
And how does that happen?
It normally happens because, retailers are positioned in district capital. Now, farmers are located sometimes more than 10 kilometers away from the district capital. So if they are located at district capital, it becomes difficult for those who are far away from the capital from getting it. Apart from that, last year they were using what we call passbook. And it was very difficult for majority of rural farmers, especially women, to have access to this passbook. And if you don't have the passbook, you are not going to get a fertilizer. So that was one other problem. Apart from that, the subsidy itself came late. It came at a point where majority of farmers have already applied fertilizer and they didn't need to. The essence actually, we didn't see the impact. Apart from that, the prices were high because the market price for compound fertilizer last year was 115 Ghana cedis, and the subsidized one was 89 Ghana cedis. So imagine a farmer who have to travel all the way from 10 kilometers away to come to a district capital, to come and then go through and get a passbook, and he's getting a difference of less than 20 Ghana cedis. Such farmer will even think that if you buy from the open market, it's better. So these were some of the challenges that we encountered in 2015. So we hope that the 2016 one, provisions will be made to address those problems. So far, there hasn't been any strategy on how to address those problems. So we are hoping that during the implementation stage, there will be strategy to address those problems.
Now, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is predicting a short growing season for farmers this year. According to the Deputy Director of Operation at the agency, Andrew Nkansa, the rains have set in much earlier than anticipated this year, meaning it will not travel the expected course in previous years. Andrew Nkansa adds, however, that the agency is unable to effectively carry out its mandate due to the lack of funds and the needed logistics. He's been speaking to my colleague Mamavio Uswabwaji.
A lot of people do take interest in the kind of weather that we have from day to day.
Okay. Yes. Let's talk about the patterns. Are things changing?
Everybody is talking about climate change, so definitely things are changing. But we can talk of variability and change. Even when things are not changing, things can vary. Variability means from year to year, you see slight changes occurring. In that one, you cannot refer to it as climate change. That will be climate variability. For instance, if last year was dry and this year is wet, you can't say because this year, last year was dry and this year is wet, so for that matter, there is what? A climate change. That will amount to climate variability. But if you want to talk about change, then you have to observe the pattern over a very long period of time. And then you look at the trend. So even within the variability, there will be a definite trend, and that will tell you whether there is a climate change or not.
Do you think that as Ghanaians we care about our meteorological service?
I don't think we care. We are only interested in what comes out of the Ghana Meteorological Agency, but not much about how we are resourced to be able to provide the services that the citizens need. We lack a number of equipment that will help us to do our work effectively. But we are making do with the little that we have. But all I can say is that there's more room for improvement. If we get more resources, more equipment, I think we can provide much better services to the satisfaction of the citizenry.
So what's the topmost priority for the agency today? I
think for any organization, money, cash is very important. We are cash strapped, let me put it that way, and we also need human resources. We have a number of stations that are closing down, and we are not able to get people to continue manning those stations because of difficulty in replacing staff who retire. So these are the most important things, the two most important things that we need. The financial resource and then the human resource. Most of the time, people do criticize us for not giving the correct forecast and all that. But there's one thing that we all have to know, that if you take the city of Accra, it's very big. Sometimes you give the forecast and it rains in some area and it doesn't rain in other area. So if you happen to be in an area where there was no rainfall, the tendency is for you to criticize the Ghana Met Agency that what we forecast did not come true, but that might not be the correct picture. So
that seemed to bother the agency, right?
It does bother us a lot, because sometimes it's disheartening after you've put in all the effort and you've been able to come out with the correct forecast, and because somebody didn't see the rain, even though it rained somewhere, and you are giving such criticism, of course it dampens your morale.
Now, Kolebu's intensive care unit, which was opened on Monday after a 2-year shutdown, won't be admitting patients anytime soon. Officials explain this is because though structural works have been completed and almost all consumables provided, the staff are yet to undergo compulsory drilling. In an interview with Journey's Dr. Chris O, constant anesthetist in charge, says they will also need to test and train their staff on the newly installed equipment. He however says patients in need of critical care will not be turned away.
I'm currently here at the intensive care unit at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. If you may recall, the intensive care unit has raised a lot of concerns among patients who come to this facility because they are not able to access the place. Today, we have the privilege to be here at the intensive care unit, and where I stand right now is a very critical place. I can see the beds, the pillow, the infusion machine. I can see the monitors. I can also see the ventilator and all that. A whole lot that the doctors and the nurses use here to ensure that patients who come here receive the best of care. So I have with me the in charge of this place, Dr. O, to tell me or to take me through exactly what the state of this particular facility. So, Doc, what is the current state of the intensive care unit?
All right, the intensive care units, the surgical intensive care units, basically has been upgraded from a 4-bed intensive care unit since 2014 to a 12-bed intensive care unit now. As we speak now, basically the structural work, the facilities that we need in the intensive care units, as you can see and as you just attested to, are set up. Among the limiting factors is to make sure that we had consumables, and these are things that we use for the patients that actually run with the machines that you see. So although these machines are here, there are consumables that run with this machine for the care of the patient. And what we've been trying to do is to make sure that we had this in-house so that we don't close down 2 weeks after starting. And most of these are available now. The last consignment for us is in the country as we speak now. Of course, we need to set them up fully, and then after that we need to run a drill.
Okay. So, Doc, when can we confidently say we would start admitting patients in here?
Yeah, confidently say. We are more confident now than we were a month or 2 months ago, but I can't make you a promise of a date. Okay, what we're hoping is that if we're able to assess all these things by the end of this week and able to run drills and make sure everything is working optimally, then in the next couple of weeks, we should be looking at admitting patients in an intensive care unit. Yeah, but that is, we need to go through that process, because that process is important so that we do not put our patients in harm's way.
Okay, so as it stands now, 3 of your clinics were opened yesterday. Yeah. What will be the state of patients who have been seen yesterday and will maybe require intensive care? What is going to be their state?
All right, so that's important because we need to clarify that the clinics were closed because the surgical clinics are to see patients who are going for surgery. Most of these patients are patients who are going for planned surgery, not emergency patients. The emergency rooms are running, so emergency patients who may need surgery immediately, including life-threatening surgeries, are being currently seen.
We're taking a break here on News Today. When we return, we'll bring you a lot more updates in the world of business. Stay on.
Now it's time to do some business, and the Private Enterprise Foundation is questioning suggestions that government is spending within approved budget and therefore on track to stabilizing their economy. Nana Osebonsu is the Chief Executive Officer of PEF.
Money in the bank and don't pay your lenders and don't pay the service renders, people who have rendered services to you, and you glorify yourself. Look at my bank account, I'm loaded with money, when you owe arrears more than your bank account. So that's what we're talking about. Contractors are owed money, service providers are owed money, government owes left to right, almost to the heavens. So if we're going to glorify ourselves and say that, okay, we've done well, let's make the level playing field, pay all our debt to private sector, because in actual fact, private sector is lending to government at no cost to government, and it's not right because they're actually reducing the private sector's capacity to perform and compromising their ability to survive. So government saying that, okay, we're doing well, we have done this and that, when the debts to private sector service providers and private sector contractors and all are still hanging in the boats.
And now from PEF, government has initiated steps to review the casual workers policy to check abuses by employers in the private sector. But Employment and Labor Relations Minister Haruna Idris revealed this to Joy Business after visiting the Northern Regional Labor Department as part of an initiative to assess operations of the department at the regional level.
Casual workers, and especially the industrial sector, have by way of demonstration agitated in recent years against low salaries among other unfair labor practices by the employers. But Employment and Labor Relations Minister Haruna Idris believes this should change soon. He spoke to Joy Business after visiting the Northern Regional Labor Department as part of an initiative to assess operations of the department at regional level.
Because in my strongest view, the best measure of living standard is not per capita income, it's employment, access to employment. And employment should be used as the single most important indicator as to how we are contributing to improving the quality of.
Mr. Idris also hinted of plans to convert regional labor departments into national employment centers to host the offices of the youth employment agencies.
Kojo Amwakoba, you can join me between 1 and 1:30 on the marketplace for more business.
And that's how we wrap up on News Today this afternoon on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. Remember to visit www.myjoyonline.com for a lot more. Up next is the marketplace with John Kojo Amwako. My name is Kwabna Chenchenibwati. Many thanks for your company.